Let's talk about Kyle Richards and Mauricio Umansky and my new conspiracy theory as to why I think Kyle called it quits with him when she did. So, as we all know, Kyle and Mauricio married for 27 years. Over the past year or so, have been separated. There's been questions of why. Is it just for a storyline? Is it because of his cheating? Is it real? Is it fake? What's going on with her and Morgan and all of that stuff? So I think it's a combination of things, but then after watching the last episode, something occurred to me. So, do I think it's the cheating allegations? Yes. Do I think it's the unfortunate death of her friend and that kind of sent her into a crisis? Yes. Do I think it's for storyline? Yes, I do. I think it's real, but I also think it gave her something to talk about and to be talked about. And also, do I believe her and Morgan are in a romantic relationship? No, I think that's PR. But then when I was watching the last episode, she made this comment about, I wouldn't want my daughters to tolerate this either. And something just in me said, oh, that's why she finally left him. Because Farrah, I think it's Farrah, her eldest daughter, who don't forget is not Mauricio's biological daughter, that is her daughter from her first marriage, ended her engagement to her longtime boyfriend, Alex, allegedly because he was cheating. So then I thought, and I have the clip and we can watch it in a little bit. It's funny how right around the time that Farrah ended her engagement to Alex is right around the time, unfortunately, her friend Lorraine passed away. Also, right around the time she started hanging out with Morgan, right around the time she basically started to call it quits with Mauricio. And I then created the parallels between Farrah and Alex and Kyle and Mauricio. Number one, obvious cheating. So allegedly, Alex was cheating on Farrah. We talked about this back in November of 2022. That's me, you guys. Oh my God, I look like such a baby in that photo. That was like in 2022. There was the blind item of that this housewife's offspring, who has her own show, is being cheated on by her significant other. And allegedly, that was Farrah and Alex. Now, if you guys watched Buying Beverly Hills, you would know their relationship was absolute cringe. It was cringe. I felt really bad. I called her a glorified booty call because I just didn't understand how you are two grown adults and yet she still had to bring an overnight bag when she would stay over his place. If I am in a point in a relationship where I'm like, where's my ring? But when I get up in the morning to go home, I have to take all my stuff with me. That's a huge disconnect. That's a glorified booty call. That's a you up text. That's a, you know what I'm saying? That's just like that's your buddy. That's your F buddy. That's not your man. Why can't you can't leave your toothpaste, you can't leave your contact solution, you can't leave your bonnet, you can't leave it, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can't leave your retainer. Like, what? I was like, girl. And that leads me to more of what I was saying about the similarities. Also, with Buying Beverly Hills, Mauricio allegedly was cheating with multiple agents at the agency. Farrah works at the agency. And I think after the Buying Beverly Hills show came on, in my opinion, I bet a lot of those little women he allegedly was cheating with was like, well, I want to be on the show. I'm smashing the boss. Can I be on the show? She works there. I'm sure she's hearing things. That can't be comfortable because that's her mother. And Mauricio's her stepfather. I would feel some type of way if I worked at a place and everybody was saying that all of these chicks were smashing the boss and the boss happened to be married to my mother. And the reason why I bring up Buying Beverly Hills is I bet you the dynamic changed once the show was shot and aired at the agency. Because obviously Farrah worked at the agency prior to filming. but I bet you the dynamic changed. Once you get money involved, TV involved, ego involved, fame involved, I bet you the dynamics changed. Once you get a show, it's going to be different. And I bet you more people started talking. People probably wanted camera time. People probably wanted this, that, and the third. And if I'm at a place and everybody's talking about how the boss is sleeping with this person and that person, but yet he goes home and sleeps with my mother, I'm going to have a problem with that. And did you notice that right after buying Beverly Hills, Kyle and Mauricio started having problems? Morgan started popping up, all of this stuff. Right around that time. I don't think it's a coincidence in my Nene voice. I don't believe in coincidence. I believe in conspiracy. Speaking of, buy one of our t-shirts down below. Shameless plug. Anyway. And then also on the show Buying Beverly Hills, Alex clearly gave her a shut up ring that was just for the show. The whole engagement seemed staged for the show. Also, think about public humiliation. When it comes to the cheating, when it comes to not being a priority, when it comes to all of that, right? For Kyle, it was the tabloids. She's cussing out Lisa Vanderpump for bringing up tabloids, but it's not Lisa Vanderpump's fault. This was like seasons ago that the world is talking about your husband cheating on you, you know? And then for the cheating rumors to continue every year after year. That's humiliating. And then for Farrah to be on Buying Beverly Hills, that had to be humiliating. I felt bad for her. I think she's a beautiful girl. She seems super smart, really ambitious. I have no issue. I actually think she's like really nice. And I would be like friends with her if I knew her in real life. She seemed really cool. And I felt really bad for her and all of her friends on the show was like, girl, this guy's just not that into you. Like, why are you wasting your time with him? Is basically what everybody on the show said. He's not that into you. You're a glorified booty call. You're beautiful, you're smart, you're wasting your time. That's basically what everybody on the show said. That's pretty humiliating. And it shouldn't be. But unfortunately, because it shouldn't be humiliating for the woman, it should be humiliating for the man. Because if you're not into someone and you know they're really into you, be a man and end it. So it should be humiliating for him. But unfortunately, in our society, the woman is the one who usually ends up feeling embarrassed and humiliated and looking stupid. I'm not saying that's right, but unfortunately, that's usually how it goes. She's out here looking dumb as hell, unfortunately, right? Then to have that relationship collapse. So when Kyle says, I wouldn't want this for my daughters, a light bulb went off. And I was like, ugh, that is what happened. Because I'm sure Farrah was like, listen, mom, you're telling me I deserve more. I should be with a man who prioritizes me, who wants to be with me, who spends time with me, who doesn't cheat on me, but yet you're still with Mauricio. So you really can't tell me nothing. Do you know what I mean? So there's that. There's that. So and then I found this on Reddit, which confirmed that Kyle and daughter and her fiance ended their engagement. It says multiple sources have confirmed that Kyle Rich's daughter Farrah and fiance Alex Manos have ended their engagement. Farrah, who goes by Farrah Brittany professionally, is a star of Buying Beverly Hills. And this was around 5 months ago. I'm not sure when 5 months ago from today or before, or from further in the past, but she definitely was not with him when Kim's daughter Brooke, I think, got married because he was nowhere to be seen. And that was also around the time when Kyle wasn't wearing her wedding ring, was doing stunts, having her whole like just the KR luggage, not the KRU luggage for Umansky. So all around this time, the same time that Farrah was ending her engagement with Alex, Kyle was losing her damn mind and calling it quits with Mauricio. I don't think it's a coincidence. Okay, but let's watch what Kyle had to say. And let me know what you guys think about the body language between Kyle and Mauricio. Like, what do you think Mauricio is thinking? Because once I rewatched this, I kind of changed my mind on what I thought about Mauricio. Yeah. So I think at this point, Mauricio is done. I think he was just going along to get along. I think he's so irritated with her. I think at this point he's done. And I think that now the dynamic is more of Kyle trying to win him back over and save her marriage. That's what I think the current, like in real time now reality is. Because don't forget, this was filmed months ago. This was from the last episode, which was last week. I think that it started out with Kyle in crisis because of all of these reasons. The cheating, the getting older, her best friend dying, Farrah's engagement ending. I think her seeing herself in her daughter. When she said, I didn't want my daughters to accept these things, my first gut was like, oh my gosh, Farrah. I'm saying Farrah. If I'm mispronouncing her name, I apologize. And I'm going in and out, but I'm human. I'm sorry. I was like, oh, that was another big catalyst for it. Because I don't think it's a coincidence that her daughter's engagement collapses the same exact time her marriage collapses. Now, do I think that if it was just her daughter's engagement ending, would her marriage collapse? No. But I think it's all of these things, It's like the, one drop and one drop and one drop, and then it's the straw. I think it's all of those things made the perfect storm for what's happening. But I think the fact that Kyle went so far with being against Mauricio and all of this stuff, not that she's not justified, and not that I'm saying his cheating should just be forgiven and overlooked. I'm not saying any of that stuff. I'm just saying how things usually play out. Usually when someone is in trauma and in crisis, they go all the way to the other extreme. And then the people in their lives don't understand. They don't understand it. I think he was confused. I think he was trying, but I think now he's kind of done and over it. And I think now what we see Kyle doing, she was distancing herself from Morgan Wade. We see them out now, but to me, those posts now are just very thirsty and kind of just confirms that it was a PR relationship, because the moment Morgan deleted all the images and Kyle was on Jeff Lewis being like, she's just one chick in the rotation. She's just somebody I text in the morning that I text everybody with. She's just another chick in the rotation. After all that, then people were like, what happened? Are they fighting? I think that they were scared that there would be backlash. So then all of a sudden we see Kyle and Morgan out at, Craig's with Kesha, and they're hanging out again and they're stepping out again. Oh no, we're good. Everything's fine. We're not fighting, because they're trying to figure out, how do we end the PR relationship without any side getting backlash? It's like when you date Taylor Swift for money and fans and credibility, you kind of know once you break up, you're going to be the bad person. I think they're trying to figure out how to end Morgan and Kyle without backlash from the fans or without too much speculation. That's why now we're getting that stuff. And that's why now we get Kyle wearing her Umansky jacket. Right before they filmed the reunion, she called the paparazzi on herself. She called Backrid, and she's spotted wearing a Umansky jacket. All of us seeing Mauricio. He didn't do anything wrong by not coming to the celebration of life and blah, 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 blah. Because I think usually when you're in crisis, you go so far, but then once you start to heal and once you start to come back to yourself, and then once you start to, get better and kind of get grounded, you're like, well, wait a minute. I didn't really want to blow up my life. I was just in crisis. And I think that it went so far that Mauricio was now out here dipping it and doing it. She's like, wait a minute. No, I actually don't want to blow up my life like this. I don't want not to be married. I just want a better marriage. And I think that's where Kyle's at, if that makes sense. So let's see here. Let's talk about Kyle talking about the final straw with Mauricio. As you guys know, I think the final straw was her daughter ending her engagement. I think that was the final straw. And I think a lot of the straws were the death of her friend Lorene, cheating, the end of her daughter's engagement, getting older, midlife crisis, But let's see what Kyle had to say. So this is from Reality Blurb. It says Kyle Richards still hasn't decided the fate of her marriage to Mauricio Umansky. As the 13th season of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills nears its end, Kyle is offering an update on where she stands with Mauricio, revealing that what would lead her to file for divorce, sharing her thoughts on Mauricio prioritizing work, and admitting that when it comes to Mauricio's growth, she's seen changes in her husband in recent months. Again, everything goes back to what I was saying. Now all of a sudden she's seeing changes because she wants him back. Girl, stop. I'm not hiding anything from anybody, Kyle insisted during a February 14th interview with Entertainment Tonight. I'm working through things myself, and I'm going through something, and I want to be able to be as open as I possibly can, and I will be when I figure it all out. Although they've been separated since last summer, Kyle and Mauricio have continued to live with one another and their 3 daughters, Alexia, Sophia, and Portia. And when it comes to calling it quits on their marriage, Kyle said that they would only do so if their arrangement stops working. Okay. Divorce would be if we can no longer do what we're doing right now, Kyle explained. We were never fighters. We're not a toxic couple, so we've been able to manage that so far. I don't know. The interactions I've seen between them this season have been pretty toxic. Just because you're not screaming at somebody doesn't mean the energy isn't unhealthy. It has seemed very passive aggressive. It has seemed very tense, very strained. The energy is off. Toxicity isn't just yelling and screaming. Toxicity is the quality of the energy. And the quality was very negative and unhealthy. So stop. It's going to be one way or the other, We're either going to wake up and be like, oh my gosh, we could actually fix this. Or it's going to be divorce. I mean, I just don't know how sustainable living under the same roof as friends and as a family can last. I don't know how that can last. Okay, girl. So now she's talking about waking up one day and being like, we can actually fix this. Because you want to fix it, Kyle. Stop lying. You ain't going nowhere and you're not letting Mauricio go. You lost your mind for a minute. You were in crisis. And now that you're doing the work, you've been in therapy for a while now. You're coming down to yourself. You're healing. And now you're looking around and being like, wait a minute. I don't want to blow this whole thing up. I just want something different. According to Kyle, there was a turning point where the straw broke the camel's back in her marriage and caused her to call it and ask for a separation. I was always very proud of the fact that we were able to grow together in the years of our marriage. And I think it got to a point where he was so busy and I'm working and we weren't necessarily growing together. And I think that's when the problems that we had sort of put on the back burner started to bubble up again, she revealed. Nearly 1 year later, Kyle, who is nearly 2 years sober, is prioritizing herself and doing what makes her happy. I hate to say it's because it sounds almost selfish, but really just working on myself. Working on myself is taking care of myself physically, emotionally, and really digging very deep and learning a lot about myself. And what that means where I go, where I spend my time, who I spend my time with, and in fact, I'm finding joy, and it doesn't look like it used to, she admitted. Looking back on the tragic taking of her own life of her best friend, Lorene Shea, Kyle said the loss put things into perspective. Lorene was the person that was most like me. And I think in losing her and seeing her go through this, I really did think, well, we're only here for so long. And what is important to you? And who do you want to spend time with? And who you want to feel valued in each day is precious, she explained. So, yeah. I mean, we might as well have a crystal ball over here with the candy canes because we called this over a year ago. But let's keep going. During an episode of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills earlier this season, Kyle hosted a National Alliance for Mental Health event in honor of Lorene, and because Mauricio did not attend due to work commitments, he faced backlash. I did go through a phase where I thought, why is our relationship not as important as work? Which I'm sure many women feel that. And I know he has a very important job, and not just with his work, but he has a big family to take care of and support. So it's not like it's all on him or all on me, Kyle reasoned. I'm just careful about how I word it and what I say because I do care about him so much and have tremendous amount of respect for him and what we built. And I don't want to damage that by talking about it negatively. Kyle wants her man back. Just say, I want you back, Mauricio. I'm sorry. I lost my damn mind. I want you back. While Kyle wasn't initially on board with sharing her marital issues on the show, producers quickly realized that something was off. You guys, I can't. I mean, I can't. This is so cookie cutter, textbook. It's insane. It's insane. She says there's misconceptions with Morgan and they're free to date, blah, blah, blah. Like I said before, I think they will never divorce. And I think they'll be back together in 3 to 6 months. Maybe, let's say 3 to 9 months. He might want to play a little bit more. But I think Kyle wants her marriage back and she wants her man back. And she's like, okay, I'm done playing. And he's like, no, you put me through hell. You made me miserable. I'm going to go keep playing a little bit more while I have this hall pass. That's what I think is going on. Do you guys think Kyle will leave Beverly Hills? Do you think her time is up? Do you think she should leave? What do you guys think? Put it down below. Let's see. I'm going to see if I want to finish this article or not, because it's kind of just like the same thing over and over again. No, there's no need to. So let me know what you guys think. Do you think the fact that, her daughter was going through very similar things, not being prioritized, allegedly being cheated on, and facing public humiliation was the straw that broke the camel's back that Kyle is referring to in the article that made her step away from her marriage to Mauricio? I think it was one of the big ones. And do you think it will be addressed on Buying Beverly Hills? Put it down below. But before you do that, be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Woo, that was a doozy, you guys. I'm going to drop the link in case anybody wants to come up and chat. And let's do some candy cane questions and comments, okay? And let me know if you guys like these types of videos where I do more of pop culture stuff. And always be sure to DM me or email me if you have any requests, okay? So